What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, Jimmy Smith, and thank you for taking the time on this beautiful Saturday night. It's been an intriguing weekend so far for myself. I hope you're all enjoying yourselves, staying safe out there. The weather, it just keeps dancing with us. Yesterday was the storms of Terabithia, and today just sweating my ass off. So, ready to talk some birds. We are ready to get back into this NFC East positional outlook. I hope you guys are strapped in. We are getting through the offense. We're finally on to the offensive line. We will get into the defense next, but what a perfect day. We'll give a little shout out. Happy birthday to Nate Erbig out there. You guys know I love me some Irby, and happy to see him getting some love today. And, the respect he deserves, giving up no sacks after week 8, looking real sharp out there. I was really excited to see him get a chance to play and hoping he is a part of this team's future, which I do believe he is. So we're going to get into the offensive line, and we also know the offensive masterminds. Summit is going down. Lane Johnson, bunch of vets helping out some young guys. So that's pretty cool what they're doing there. And so it's pretty fitting that today we are getting back into the NFC East positional outlook. So we're not just looking at the Eagles here. We went through the quarterbacks, the running backs, wide receivers, the tight ends for all of the teams in the NFC East. So go back, check those out. We're getting to the offensive line now. So I know not too exciting for a lot of people, but for me, obviously, if we stay healthy, we have one of the best lines in the game. And, some other teams in this division are dealing with some injuries and other things. So we are going to get into that. And, everything, starts in the trenches, and it's very important. And a lot of these teams found out the hard way, obviously you got to stay healthy. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, who I have and what rank. And we're going to do it a little different this time. I'm going to start from the bottom, talk about, not who I necessarily think is the best first. But, this is going to depend on a lot of things. But let's hop right into it. I thank you guys for taking the time on this Saturday. If you have any questions, comments you want to throw my way, please feel free to do so. It doesn't have to be about the offensive line. I know that's not exactly your bread and butter out there, but let me know your thoughts. Who do you think you have at the top? Who do you have at the bottom? Where do you rank in these guys? But let's get into it. We'll talk about the starters or presumed starters and some of the depth they have there and some of the competition going on. We'll start with the Giants, New York Giants here. Let's be real. They didn't add to their line, and that's something I thought maybe they would address in the draft. They did not do that. So pretty much the same line they had last year, 19th in rushing. Obviously, no Saquon. That kind of hurts you. 29th in passing, and overall they were 31st with 299.6 yards per game, and they were 31st in sacks given up at 3.1 per game. Not exactly great there. So I love it. They did not add to it, but Will Hernandez, he'll be battling out with Shane Lemieux. I'm not sure which one will be left guard or right guard, but those two will probably be your starters. You saw Andrew Thomas, the rookie last year, their top pick, and then Lemieux and Gates getting thrown into the fire there. They'll probably be your starters, but you'll see some battles there. So you see some depth there under them, some guys that might be pushing them. You see Fulton and Solder, some veterans that were brought in this year that could definitely compete. But that's the Giants offensive line. I think for me, they're still at the bottom. We talk about them being 31st in total yards and 31st as well when it comes to sacks given up. That's not great at all. Now you get Saquon Barkley back, those numbers are going to go up. And when we talk about these numbers, you have to take it with a grain of salt, right? Because they're not the running backs, the receivers, the quarterbacks, anything like that. But it all starts in the trenches. And we're just kind of giving ourselves, a little guideline here of what to look at. So I have them at the bottom. They did not improve their line. I guess they're just hoping these young guys get better. And I mean, that's part of the game. You got to develop your guys. So we'll see what they do there. But for me, I had them at the bottom of the NFC East. Then up next, I have Washington. They weren't jumping off the page with stats either. And once again, take all the numbers I say with a grain of salt. But they lost Moses and Trent Williams, and that's two starting tackles. I think that's huge. But they added Charles Leno, somebody that's been starting for the Bears forever. I think it was like 7 years or something. He was there. And then Cornelius Lucas came in last year and was playing left tackle. So I have him there at left tackle, but Not sure if Leno, who was a left tackle, if he's the starter, or Lucas at left tackle and the other moves to the right. We'll see what happens there. But they also used a second round pick on Sam Cosmi. So he's definitely going to be competing as well. Wes Schweitzer stepped in there well, but they have a veteran in Eric Flowers behind him from the Giants. You see Chase Roullier. I think, he actually is a pretty good center. And Brandon Scherf, we all know he's a pretty good guard. But they've got some good depth there with Tyler Larson and Wes Martin. So Washington does have a decent looking line, but last year, man, they weren't jumping off the stats page either. 26th in rushing, 25th in passing, 29th in total yards at 320.6 yards per game. And they were 28th in sacks given up per game. And it's also 3.1, but I'm sure the decimals go on. So tied up there with the Giants. Not the greatest at the bottom there. But we'll get to a different team that is at the bottom. But anyways, a few teams tied up there, and Washington being one of those teams. And the reason, I have the Eagles ahead of them, you'll see here. Obviously, it has to do with health. But Washington, they need to improve, but they have some decent players. We just talked about Roullier and Sheriff, and losing Moses and Williams, I think that's big for them. We'll see how they, move Leno and Lucas there, but whoever ends up being the tackles will be important for Fitzpatrick and the rest of the team. So, not that they're a bad line. I just have these other lines as better lines. And the next two I think are better, but obviously a lot depends on health. So Dallas, I have up next. And, Tyron Smith, one of the best left tackles in the game, playing for 10 years now. He is a beast, but they obviously dealt with a bunch of injuries last year. He was banged up. Zach Martin was banged up. Lyle Collins was out like the whole year. And now they lost Travis Frederick as their center. So that's huge. They were 17th in rushing, 10th in passing, and 13th total. So, still pretty good, just not where they usually are. They had 371.8 yards per game, and they were actually 26th in sacks given up per game at 2.8. So not great, but that's a lot to do with injuries, hoping, that they are hoping not. I hope everyone stays healthy. We'll say that. But for them, they want to keep Zach Martin healthy, Lyle Collins, and Tyron Smith. We'll see if they can, but they're hopefully ready for training camp from what I saw. And then at center, it's intriguing to see if Tyler Bidas, I liked him in the draft, but we'll see last year. We'll see what they do. 4th round pick. If he's the starter there or Connor McGovern can push him, we'll find out who the starter is. Connor Williams over there at left guard. I think he gets a little underrated, but he's by Cowboys fans, he's overrated. So we'll just find a happy medium there. But he's actually pretty decent. I think Bidas should definitely be the starting center. I've heard some chatter about Joe Looney possibly going back there, but I think Tyler could definitely hold it down. And that's a pretty good offensive line. Let's be real. If they stay healthy, Ezekiel Elliott could run all over people. That's if he can protect the ball. We saw, and whether that was with the offensive line or Dak being out, just so many issues for the Cowboys last year. We know if they stay healthy, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I hate saying that because we all know the Cowboys suck. But I hate it. But I got to stress, if they stay healthy, they're going to be a pretty dominant offense. And, it's hard to not put them at the top. But I got another team for you guys out there. And I think if they stay healthy, it's a no-brainer that the Eagles have the best offensive line in the NFC East and possibly the NFL. I'm telling you, this line is one badass line, and I think you all know it out there. Jason Kelce, the anchor in the middle there. This dude is a stud. Hopefully he sticks around. I don't know if he's after this year going to be here, but he's going to be here long enough to hopefully help out Landon Dickerson. You see Dickerson under Sayamalu and him. He can help out at guard or center, whichever comes first, whether that's left guard, right guard, doesn't matter. But, the starters here, Brandon Brooks, love the dude. We talk about, he gave up 1 sack in 2019, but he was the highest ranked by PFF. He was like the only guy in the 90s. And whatever, take all that stuff with a grain of salt once again. But Brandon Brooks, we all know he's awesome. And before that 1 sack, he seriously took him a few years to give up a sack. So he's awesome. Lane Johnson, we love that dude. We talk about his O-line masterminds going on right now. That dude, you just got to love these guys. And Isaac Sayamalu, I think a lot of people sleep on him. I really like Isaac. There's talk, Landon Dickerson could beat him out. Maybe he does eventually. But right now, I think Sayamalu starts the season. And eventually, we've talked about it. And I saw something from Mike K earlier today, and it was, talking about with people that Sayamalu can move into center. And you guys know I've been talking about that for years. Sayamalu could move into center. You have to replace it with a guy. You draft either a guy that could play guard or center. We did that with Landon Dickerson. There he is. You have Nate Erbig. You have Jack Driscoll. And then we'll see what happens with Mailata and Dillard. But you've got depth all over the place. And the battle at left tackle, that's the intriguing one there for the Eagles. Mailata, he ended the season as a starter, so I got him there. But we drafted Dillard to be that starter. So it's going to be a great battle. It's a great position to be in for the Eagles. So excited to see that training camp and preseason battle go down and find out who the best man is. Dillard put on that muscle. And I know a lot of people have some strong feelings about him, but I'm hopeful that he, obviously he pans out to be the guy they thought he was. And then that pushes Mailata and we get the best out of both of them. So that's to me, this line is amazing. And when you look at it, dude, let's be real here. Miles Sanders was doing great. Doug Peterson just never used him. So Nick Sirianni is going to use him. He's going to use Kerryon Johnson, Kenny Gainwell. This offense is going to be explosive. And once you establish that run, you can do all the play action, RPO, all that fun stuff. And you also have a dual threat quarterback. So it makes you multidimensional on offense. And I love it. And we talk about the receivers that we have. Oh, my God. Give Jalen Hurts a little bit of time to find Devontae Smith, Jalen Reagor, Travis Fulgham, Quez Watkins, whoever it is. I don't care. Dallas Goedert. Excited. But this offensive line, it obviously all falls on them staying healthy. Last year, we know that we dealt with so many injuries. We set the NFL record. That's not good. So we want to stay healthy. To look further into the Eagles, we had the positional outlook just on the Eagles when we were talking about, the tackles. You see, you've got the right tackle and the two left tackles competing, and then you've got some great depth. I love Driscoll, brought in LaRaven Clark. Toth prior there, he really missed his ship there. And let's be real, he helped out at swing tackle, but there's other guys that can do that now. So you got Jack Driscoll. He's part of the future. Love that. And then you look at the guards there. You got Brooks. Dickerson could help at guard and center. Sayamalu, I like him. Awasiku, that's an undrafted kid, but hey, maybe he could push Opeta or Pryor out. But Nate Erbig, that's my dude. Happy birthday once again. But I think he's going to be a guard of the future, and I'm very excited about that. And then for the centers, we talk about having Kelce, and then, maybe Dickerson is the guy that takes over eventually. But you had Uriah playing some snaps last year. You brought in Pierschbacher, familiar with Hurts there. So we'll see. And then Harry Kreider, an undrafted kid. So the Eagles, we've got depth. I'm really excited, and I think we could definitely be the best offensive line in the NFC East by far. And that's saying something because there's some good lines. I think the Cowboys are the closest to us, but Washington has a decent offensive line. A lot of questions at those tackle positions. Giants, very questionable, not making any moves to their offensive line. So we shall see what happens. But the Eagles, we all know, I'll give it a good Booger McFarlane, John Madden quote, but you need to stay healthy. And I think we all know that. So hoping the best for them. Hoping we do. We run the ball. Oh, my God. I'm getting excited thinking about the fact that I might not have to say that every effing week after a game. Run the ball. Think we will. Very excited for this team. But that's all I got for you tonight. That was the NFC East positional outlook on the offensive line. Hope you enjoyed. If you're watching this later, you have any questions or comments you want to throw my way, please feel free to do so. Let me know how you have these guys ranked, who you have at the top, who you got at the bottom. If you have any kind of other questions about this team, please feel free to let me know. Check out the other NFC East positional outlooks. We got all the offensive positions done, so check those out, and we will be back with defense next week. So excited about that. Have a couple guests, so very excited about that as well. Thank you all for checking me out on all of these platforms. Thank you for hitting the like button, retweeting, subscribing to that YouTube channel. I thank you for taking the time on the Saturday night to talk a little bit of birds with me. Like I said, though, if you need anything, reach out to me. I'm going to get rolling. Have yourselves a great night. I'll be back tomorrow. And as always, go birds!